That said, they've also run 3-position Death Prophet. So this could even be offlane Death Prophet with 5 Spirit Breaker, as you mentioned. I think it might come down to what carry they have, whether they can secure the lane with a Spirit Breaker, which is a much tougher ask than the Death Prophet. I think Death Prophet's just like the better support for your carry. So I would lean towards core Spirit Breaker and support Death Prophet. I don't know if you would agree with that.
No, I would. It's just a matter of like, they don't have the last pick overall, right? So while they've kept a good amount of flex here in this pool that's kept us guessing, you're going to have to reveal it before Boom finalize their draft. And, you know, let's say it's much more likely that this Quap's going to be mid. Lena's still in the pool, and I feel like Lena's pretty decent this game because you need some of that burst damage to be able to take out this Death Prophet. Even if it's played from that position 5 role, I don't think a Weaver and a Tidehunter and a Bane are going to be able to do enough in the earlier stages of the game to be able to stop him from just popping Exorcism and starting to take your towers and really play that aggressive playstyle that SMG want.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're looking for that high damage, flashy mid laner. Snapfire even gets banned, so they're worried about some of that burst potential that can come from Yopaj's hero pool with, what, 6 bans targeted at Yopaj?
6 bans. Yeah. You'll love to see it.
That's a lot of bans for one player, but I also can't blame them. You guys always talk about how it's so hard to sort of ban out Yopaj's hero pool because there's a lot that he can be very effective and very good on. But SMG, they're out here. They're trying. They want to make it difficult for Boom to be able to pick that last hero for him.
I was trying to think, like, okay, they can't go back into the Morph. Like, I was like, oh, they wouldn't do it again, would they, with this last pick overall? But it's already been banned out by Boom. In response to the Spirit Breaker, they go the Terrorblade. So really, they're just saying, okay, if this game goes late, there is no way that you're going to be able to out-carry us. We've got the Hyper Carry and the Medusa. So how are they going to be able to get a little bit more active again in the early game? They, outside of the Death Prophet, and assuming this is a DP5, you can find it a little bit difficult to push towers. So I wonder if that's what they're going to lean a little bit more into. You know, one of these carriers that's capable of doing that. PL, obviously good against the Medusa. It's okay against the Tidehunter. But towers, not as much.
Yeah, I would say the 2 heroes that stand out for me is Luna and Ursa. Ursa's more for the hero matchup against the Medusa. Luna's more for like, let's get this big death ball. It's a mid 1 classic that can kind of farm up. They go Drow though, so they're actually going for another route. Something that takes objectives, but also matches up pretty well against Dusa.
Yeah, matches well against Dusa, takes objectives. They've banned out all of the catch, basically, that SMG are looking to go for. Storm, Puck, Ember, all gone. Even Snapfire, you know, once you get that Blink Aghanim Shard, can act a little bit like that. Does this mean we might be seeing a Void Spirit or something along those lines come through for Yopaj? They've got plenty of time to make their final decision, but you know, if it's against the Queen of Pain, you do have to dissimulate to avoid the Shadow Strike. You're not going to get bullied quite as much as you might with some of these other heroes. But I feel like the Lina can get punished a little bit, right? Like you won't be able to get in onto the backlines, onto the Drow Ranger.
Yep. Oh, I think absolutely. Yopaj is looking for some hero that can jump and get in the backline, which, you know, options are limited. Void Spirit, I think, is one of the big ones that stands out. Otherwise, you're looking at, I don't know, Blink TA or something. That's kind of maybe too greedy. If you're going TA with Deuce, I don't think it really works too well. In the past, he played a bunch of Tiny. That's not a hero that really plays mid. So I think it's a pretty tough spot for them to find a Yopaj hero that fits perfectly for the draft here. Even though they have second pick and the last pick of the overall draft, it doesn't feel like there's an easy way for them to win this draft.
For sure. So it's just like, do you bank on winning the laning stage, or do you bank on what's going to actually potentially win you the later stages of the game? Because I feel like Drow's good against the Tidehunter. I need to see what this last matchup is, right? They've burned through all of their reserve time. They've taken a long-ass time to make these last 2 picks and bans come through.
They Void Spirit. The other troubling thing, which I think limited their hero options, was you're laning against Quap. Like, all these heroes that can maybe jump the backlines, half of them you just can't play into Quap because they're like, you know, these melee heroes that go Blink Dagger and stuff. So because of the Quap pick, I think there was only like a couple of heroes that really made sense for the mid lane.
Yeah, Yopaj needs to pop off this game if Boom are going to win, in my eyes. I feel like SMG have won this draft. I feel like they're going to... I know, right? I feel like
wait, no. We're seeing the Weaver as a core. What's happening?
Okay.
I asked you, you're like, it's so not possible. And I'm like, this is it. This is the time that it's gonna come out. And if you look down there, well, wasn't a silly question after all.
Yeah.
All right. That changes things. All right, let me have a bit of think about this.
All right, you think about Danog and know that my question to you is going to be: does this fall into your hot take of 100% a draft diff? But you can think about it instead. I'm going to ask GoDz, how do you feel knowing that you were
I'm an
so
idiot?
wrong about the Weaver? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. How do you feel about these two teams, knowing all the positions of the heroes now, and where do you think the outplaying could potentially happen? Like, which matchup is going to be the most interesting between the two teams?
I'm excited to see this Weaver's lane. I think with a Tide, there's a lot of kill potential. The Gush plus Bugs. Like, this Drow could have a pretty tough time in lane. And that's something I think is important. If this Drow just free farms, this game starts to look really hard for Boom. So I think they need to put a lot of pressure on the laning stage because Drow is kind of a weaker laning stage hero. So that's something that, for me, Boom need to take advantage of, as well as I think Danog mentioned, Yopaj. He needs to pop off. He needs to have a great game, get active, make a lot of moves, make a lot of rotations to really help them out early on.
So heroes to definitely keep an eye on. And what about you quickly, Danog? Does this fall into your 100% hot take?
Thought Boom were going to win this series, but I still feel like SMG have the better draft this time around. I think that this change, kind of similar to what we saw with Fnatic taking on SMG, where they had to run the Tidehunter and DJ in the position 4. They put the Venomancer as a pos 3, and I feel like that was specifically in response to being able to deal with the push and the damage situation that I was talking about.
Well, I'm going to jump out of here as we do get into game number 1 with GoDz. And Danog, please take it away.
Alrighty, thank you, Nat and Danog. Yeah, something a little different coming out when the Weaver core gets bust out. Do you feel like that was a desperation move or something they were kind of planning all along? What do you make of them swapping up the roles here?
I think it's a specific response to what SMG just did, right? Because you've got the Drow Ranger, you've got the Death Prophet, who are going to be the ones making the pushes happen for you. A Tidehunter is normally the response that you want to do for a hero like a Beastmaster, for example, or a Lycan, or other sorts of melee heroes that just want to be running at your towers, because you just put your body in the way, you anchor smash, you've got your Kraken Shell, you're very survivable. But you can't do that this game. The Drow and the Death Prophet make that not really possible. So Boom have changed things up and said, okay, well, we realize that we're lacking a little bit of damage. The Tidehunter's not going to be able to do that role. So let's make the Weaver a higher damage potential hero, more of a core hero. And we'll see how it works out for them.
All right, well, looking elsewhere, we've got some spicy matchups in the mid lane as well. Quap versus Void Spirit. I mentioned, like, not a lot of great heroes to lane against Quap, but do you feel like this is a matchup Yopaj will do okay in against the Queen of Pain, or should Moon have the edge?
I think very early on he should do okay. It's when you start to get a few more points into the Shadow Strike that it becomes more difficult. Although we've seen Quaps in recent times only go for like maximum 2 points in the Shadow Strike, just because of how effective you want to be with being able to scale along with the rest of your team. The Scream of Pain, of course, great for the early game and being able to take out some of these squishier heroes like the Weaver, for example. So I wonder how that's going to be. I'm really just looking at like the cooldown differential between Dissimilate and Shadow Strike. And early on, pretty similar for both of them. But yeah, once you get more than 2 points in it, it really leans more in favor of the Quap.
Okay. We'll see how that one fares. Yopaj had a bit of a rough day yesterday, particularly in that Game 3 and that Kunkka versus Bat matchup. So definitely a scenario where he can't get too overconfident against Moon. Now, last lane over up top, it's going to be Raging Potato on the Spirit Breaker with Afu's Earthshaker. They're up against the Medusa Bane. I mean, 2 range against 2 melee. Should be easy, right? Or not so simple?
I wouldn't say it's so simple. I mean, Bane is just... It's a nice hero to be able to trade against this, but, I mean, you were kind of always expecting it super early on from the Spirit Breaker, right? Not an incredible laner, at least in the very early levels, and Earthshaker, in my opinion, one of the most passive in the entire game. I call him a do-nothing hero for a long time, and it takes someone like Afu of his caliber to really be able to make it shine. So top lane should be Boom Fade.
Yeah. It definitely feels like one of those heroes, like you're playing your pubs and you're an offlane player and you get a Shaker in your team, you're like, oh god, I got a Shaker. Like, yeah, he can fissure block that first wave, but when it comes to the lane itself, it's like, he's not doing a whole lot. You're praying that Blink Dagger timing comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, they just sit in the jungle for way too long. They sit back wanting the 5-man Echo Slam, but it never comes.
Yep. And I think one of the strengths of the Deucer, they picked up the Shaker, is, most carries, when you get that Blink Dagger on Shaker, you get a Blink Echo or whatever. You can blow up most carries, but Deucer is one of the few that you just can't do that to, like alongside maybe the Wraith King. So I think Boom, recognizing the strength of Afu's Shaker, they kind of drafted accordingly.
Absolutely.
As far as these lanes go, it doesn't look like any heavy aggression early on. Any particular lane you feel like is crucial for either team to come out on top of, or like where we should kind of keep our eyes on for any early aggression?
Probably mid lane, to be honest, right? Like, you have the ability with these Spirit Breaker as a position 3, actually not quite as much, to make the rotation through to try and secure some of those power runes, right? So even though Raging Potato, he fits his name, right? He's constantly looking to get active, get aggressive, maybe have a little bit less farm for himself if it means his other 2 cores shine. But I feel like he does need to be that presence so that you're able to go in onto FBZ in particular and be able to take him out once these team fights do break out. So I think it's just all going to be on the back of Yopaj trying to make the best out of an unfavorable matchup.
Yeah, and if that's his goal, so far so good. He's even on CS with the Queen of Pain. He's managed to, you know, keep the creep wave at least in a decent position where he's not getting zoned out too heavily. So decentish start for him. Elsewhere in the jungle, the 2 supports kind of juking it out, fighting over some of these bounty runes, where Afu is also maybe trying to make some stacks. And with the charge coming in, they want to go for this kill early on Skem. They've still got Fissure as well as the Enchant Totem. Skem turns looking for the Nightmare, but he gets hit by the charge, and as a result, he may go down here. Nightmare comes out, but Afu needs one more right click, and with the boots on both heroes, it looks like the Bane is going to be okay, at least for now. Clarity on Afu, but he only has that 10 movement speed advantage, so unable to really chase.
That's what I was talking about, though, right? Like, sure, the Spirit Breaker was able to get most out of that wave, but in the meantime, Jackie doing what not a lot of carries would do in making sure to pull the creep wave, the small camp, into his wave and deny some of that experience away from the Spirit Breaker. So it's a good start here for Boom.
Yeah. That whole sequence, I think, feels okay if you get the Bane kill, but when you don't, you're saying like, wow, I guess Medusa just spent the last 60 seconds free farming while we, you know, we're off doing other stuff. One lane we haven't talked too much about is this bottom lane, where I've seen a lot of harass going back and forth. A few times Roger getting pretty low on the Death Prophet, but he's got the level 2 Spirit Siphons up now. Do you see, you know, Tideweaver, I mentioned a bit, like, it feels like this is a lane where they do have some kill threat, or is it just going to be too hard against a Drow?
I think it's going to depend on mid-one's positioning, right? Like, he obviously likes to get really aggressive, but now, actually, he's in the sort of position to go for it. Lane's kind of pushed up. You've got the point into the Gush. FBZ's level 3. Still holding on to one of those points, but I feel like if mid-one gets out of position, he is pretty vulnerable. Roger isn't the one that you're going to be able to kill.
Yeah, I'd love to find some early kills on mid-one. Roger, though, going to be getting gone on here. Has got the Spirit Siphon. Throws out 2 to start things off with a multi-shot from mid-one as well. And FBZ getting brought very low. Another Shikuchi up in a second, so he should be okay. Barely lives on a sliver of health.
You just can't kill him, right? Like, maybe now is the time to do it if they have a good amount of regen, which they don't really. It's just a few tangos on Boom's side. So you really got to try and take advantage, particularly in those early levels, if you force out multiple Spirit Siphons from a support Death Prophet. But it's going to have at least one available again. To get it on to the Tide Hunter whenever possible, just because of that maximum HP.
Yeah, it seems like his lane going just fine. And for the Drow, as a result, free farm. Roger this time, yeah, you mentioned he's only got the 1 Spirit Siphon, so they found the opening to get that kill. FBZ got brought very low to do so, but they'll happily get the first blood.
That was FBZ finally putting the point into the Geminate attack as well, realizing that they need to be able to burst it down, and doing that quite effectively. Still looking to go into the urn. I understand it. You know, you're going to try and you're going to need to be responding to a lot of these early pushes. You're probably going to get a couple of kills, banking on Yopaj to get work done. Because Viva, one of those heroes that does lack mana regen if you don't specifically itemize for it. Be one of the worst health and mana regen in the entire game.
Yeah, it does seem like even though it is a core Weaver, the itemization approach is maybe going to be somewhat similar. As you mentioned, the urn, and it looks like after that he has an Atos in mind, so slightly, I mean, same role, but just slightly more farm priority, it seems, compared to what we normally see from the Weaver.
Don't hit the Gleipnir on the Weaver, though. You know, plenty of ways to be able to farm with the Maelstrom. You've obviously got the team fight impact. You can hold people in place so the Medusa is able to effectively take them out. It's a solid item. Good stats as well for a Weaver.
Well, so far this game, both carries getting their own. Neither mid-one nor Jackie getting contested at all, really, in their lanes. As a result,
it is the other cores on Boom that are suffering, right? Like this,
yeah.
This mid matchup, Queen of Pain against the Void Spirit, it's always going to be quad favored. seen a couple of times where the Dissimulate actually wasn't used for the Shadow Strikers. Oh, kill happens on the bottom side of the map. It just goes to show the strength of having this really strong hero in mid one. Able to burst you down as soon as he hit level 6.
And they're not done. They find a kill mid lane. The Sonic Wave being used with the Fissure to blow up Yopaj. That's perhaps the bigger kill. Obviously, the Tide is nice for mid one. That was just a support, but the core kill in the mid lane, slowing down Yopaj, always a key to success if you want to take on Boom.
Absolutely. You just want to make sure that not only are you ruining his farm, but it's also just the levels, right? Early on, the levels is what's going to be able to supply that burst damage that you need to take out something like the Death Prophet or the Drow Ranger that, again, are going to be key components of this early push.
Is the path to, I guess, recovery for Yopaj going to be getting more active, or is he just looking to farm this game?
I don't think
at least here in the
really
early game.
Active, right? Yeah,
Okay.
like it's rough. A Tide Hunter isn't one to rotate all that much. He's looking to build up some stacks, either for Yopaj or for the Medusa. Me personally, I feel like this is the sort of thing that Yopaj needs to be taking. But actually, it was blocked up. Never mind. Yeah, the sentry camp inside the dire triangle. So good recognition coming through from SMG here.
Doing what they can to slow down some of that farm progression. Particularly, you're playing against this Medusa who is continuing to accelerate, but this game could very quickly turn into like a Medusa, please carry us 4 Protect 1 style if Yopaj doesn't find a good way to come online and make his name known on this game. Because right now, he is having a bit of a rough time in this mid lane, and Afu just constantly on his shaker lingering around. But Skem is there to punish this, and with a haste rune on Yopaj's Void Spirit, you've got to imagine they might be able to get this kill on Afu. He's going to throw out a fissure to try and get himself out of here, but Yopaj, chasing with the Astral Strap, has a Remnant that he's holding on to for now, and Afu... Yeah, missed the Remnant, but hit him with the Dissimulate. Not the end of the world, but they do get the kill. Costs them quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I have to wonder how much of that was really looking to prepare for that first push that they're going to be wanting to making around the tier 1 tower in mid. It's approaching the 10-minute mark. DP probably going to be the recipient of...
Yopaj going for a one-man smoke, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but this is like very unconventional. I was just like,
especially
he just
mid one's
went back to his tower. Yeah, he has a haste rune. He didn't actually use the haste to kill the Shaker, which means he gets a kill on mid one here, potentially. Mid one knows it. He's just trying to do what damage he can. Really cool move from Yopaj.
It's the benefit, the old S4 rune, right? Although Skem will probably look to suffer in the mid lane from that rotation. Just soak as much of that experience as possible. And Shaker able to get a little bit more contribution from that as Afu does eventually get the D-ward. But for me, this really does feel like they're just setting up for this push, right? Like the Drow Ranger's going to respawn. She's got the Dragon Lance. You've nearly reached level, the 10-minute mark. Probably look to give the Tome of Knowledge over to the DP.
Yeah, Drow TP's mid. They want this kill on mid tower. Yopaj is going to get charged and Sonic Wave brought down as the multi-shot coming out, bringing Skem low as well. Will they be able to chase him off? And with the Nether Strike, it looks like they'll get the Skem kill. But Boom have rotated in numbers. Yeah, they want to keep this tower alive, and Deuce is the perfect hero to do that with. Mid one gets bailed up by a fissure, as well as a charge to follow it up. He gets kept alive, but he goes back in and gets gushed. He could have lived, but he got a bit greedy. I don't think he expected the 3 points in gush there, or he would have probably just ran and hid. Jackie now alone to defend this tower, and he is in a bit of trouble here. Luckily gets a nice Mystic Snake off to heal himself back up. Buyback from the Titan, who does have level 6, will TP in. Can he find a Ravage in time? He throws it out. Jackie's still alive, still standing. He will end up going down. Raging Potato got the charge damage off just barely in time. Tims wants this kill, and he'll have a gush in about 5 seconds before the charge comes back up, or potentially a Skem Brain Sap. Skem going to look to drag this wave here. There's the gush. Anchor Smash may be needed, but they've got the Brain Sap to finish it off. Decent-ish punish, but losing the Deucer and the tier 1 tower in the process.
Yeah, mission accomplished for SMG, right? You even get a buyback used from your Tide Hunter, so you know that he's probably the one that you want to look to focus in this next little bit. He's going to be useless for the next 2 minutes, so why not just ball up and do it again, not even needing to use the Exorcism that time around on Roger. So wouldn't surprise me to see them try and make a rotation up to top, considering you know that the team fight is basically gone for Boom.
Yeah, really well done. You're generally TPing in a Medusa like that to defend the tower, but just 1 point in Mana Shield, no Stone Gaze yet. Jackie going for this greedier farming build on Medusa, which you can't blame him, but when he gets called in to defend a tower, suddenly he's vulnerable. And SMG, they're not done. They're smoked up. Yeah, they have an idea of where this Medusa is farming. This would be a fantastic kill if they can find it. Afu has the long-range Fissure to perhaps start things off here. They pop the smoke. The Fissure gets cancelled by the Scam Nightmare. Raging Potato's already gone in with the charge and the Nether Strike to pull the Deucer back in. And again, Jackie, without the points in Martyr Shield, just unable to really tank his way through it. He gets bursted down.
There's really good gameplay coming through from SMG here. They're recognizing a lot of the timings. They're stealing away a lot of those stacks as well, making it even more important. The exorcism obviously connecting into not just the kill, but I would even call this an objective, being able to take away Medusa stacks.
Oh yeah, I mean, killing Medusa is huge too. Like, theoretically, she wanted to farm that stack and already be farming a lane or another camp, so that set her back like at least 500, maybe closer to 1,000 in terms of her net worth. Bottom lane though, Roger in a bit of trouble here. Is stuck around a bit too long, and they've got plenty of catch with another haste rune on Yopaj's Void Spirit. And he sees Afu mid. Is he going to go hunting for this one? He might. And Afu, I don't know if he's expecting it. Here comes the chase. Yopaj gets him with the slow. The Remnant full follow-up with a dissimilate damage in the gush. They get a double kill on Yopaj. That was a bit greedy from the SMG supports, it feels like.
It's 5-2-0 on Yopaj, doing a pretty good job, honestly, to salvage the early game. The fact that you've down a tower as well. FPC, he's the real casualty of all of this, though. You know, you're playing this Weaver, doesn't have the farm, and he's even gone a little bit too utility in my eyes in terms of what his itemization is going to be. Going into the Yule Scepter, going into the Aghanims. I get the Ags, right? You want to put everything onto the back of the Medusa. Obviously, not just refreshing HP, but the mana as well basically gives you 1.5 extra lives. But for me, it just feels like a little lackluster. You're not going to be able to deal with this Drow Ranger and the DP push for the first 25 or so minutes of the game.
As far as the Yules goes, what are you looking at and seeing as far as the reasoning behind him going for this Yules?
I mean, do they have anyone that's really able to deal with a Spirit Breaker? That's all I can really think of. Getting rid of the Bulldoze, considering that, you know, it is a core Spirit Breaker.
Into the top rune, picks up the Invis rune, but he's been stunned up. And here comes Afu! Echo and a Sonic Wave. The Ravage comes, but it's too late for Boom. They've already been boomed here in the top river. FBZ, ooh, time-lapse off just in time, but the charge is on him, so he's going to probably get chased down here. Afu does die. It's a 2-for-2 trade so far, so not the worst exchange for Boom, despite how bad it looked with that Afu Echo Slam. They get the Queen of Pain kill, and it's actually a win for Boom. They only lose their supports.
It's the Queen of Pain that gets the kills, but more importantly, it's FBZ that gets the ones for Boom. That went a big way to starting to have him recover towards being a real presence in this game. You can't ignore a Weaver, even if it's a position 3. It's just that sort of thing that finds a way, especially if you've got a Deucer, you've got the split shot, so the Scarab Swarm going to be super effective once it gets late.
Oh, we'll see it here again. This fight, Afu able to just kind of walk his way in. A great silence, Echo Slam on 3, but FBZ did a great job in the Shikuchi just to stay on the outskirts and not get caught in the damage of the Echo or the Sonic Wave. So he was able to kind of clean up for Boom, and Yopaj luckily could just kind of get his way out of there and not die.
They're playing around their timings really well. Perhaps some recognition of that from Boom as well. The Observer Ward up on the top side of the map, seeing that the Death Prophet's here, clipping onto mid one as well, realizing they want to push around this 15-minute catapult time. It's just a question of, can you do much to defend it? I don't think so. You've got no Ravage. And that's really the key linchpin around this, so looking to fight as far away as possible.
Well, Boom, ignoring the push up top, are pressuring the mid-tier 1 tower with a Siege Wagon there of their own. Raging Potato doing a good job dragging some creeps off this lane, though, so it doesn't look like Boom are going to be able to really commit for this mid tower. Instead, they'll get bottom with Jackie.
Okay, it's something that you get in exchange, but SMG still didn't have to use any of those ultimates for that push to happen as the charge continues.
Thought about looking for more, but not going to be the case. While all this is going on, Jackie quietly farming up a Storm. He's now 1,000 gold ahead of the Drow Ranger. We talk about this Drow Medusa matchup being, like, you know, slightly Drow favored. Just how good is it for Drow? Like, if Medusa is ahead, is there like an item advantage that where Medusa can kind of make up for like the hero matchup disadvantage?
I personally don't think there is. I think it's not necessarily just isolated to the hero-to-hero matchup. It's all about what other heroes that you've got that are going to be able to limit the Drow's effectiveness. So it's really just the Void Spirit. That's why I was so adamant about Yopaj needing to have an excellent game, because if you don't disable that marksmanship, you've got nothing.
Here we go. SMG think they can sneak a Roshan, but Boom have made their way over with the smoke, and they've already sniped Afu. And the grip coming out on Roger as well does get cancelled by a charge. Tims needs to get this Ravage off, but he gets bursted. Before he can do so, the Sonic Wave stopping it. FBZ in the middle gets Echo Slam to prevent the time lapse. Boom have lost 3 with the buyback from Afu, but he is going to die again. Jackie making sure they get some of these kills here. On the front lines is Yopaj. He's got no Astral Scepter left. Does have a Yule Scepter, but he gets hit by the charge. Yeah, he didn't have vision perhaps of the Spirit Breaker coming in, so they lose 4. Rage and Potato just finding the line to catch the Void Spirit there. I think just a really tricky angle where he was charging from the high ground, so he just didn't see him to get the Yules off.
This could be, I know I said it was SMG favored, but this could be one of those instances where it is that execution issue that's presenting Boom being able to take the win. There was 2 ultimates there, the time lapse, the Ravage, that were pump faked a little bit, not used quite as quickly as you potentially could have, that ended up resulting in their deaths, and then there, it's just Yopaj not quite quick enough on the fingers for the Yule Scepter to enable him to live. Like, he gets that Yule Scepter, he has it assimilate. He's able to get away from that team fight and potentially protect that Roche from going down, so it's a lot of little wins going SMG's favor.
And now Mid1 gets to play around in Aegis. He's already got BKB Dragonlance. More than ready to join the actions. We've seen a couple of times where he's willing to join the smokes, invade, try to deal with this Dusa. They want to keep taking these fights before Jackie gets too far. They've already managed to get a Roshan and take multiple towers before his Skadi comes up, so perhaps aware that he gets a lot harder to deal with once that second big item is online.
Really like the itemization coming through from Roger as well. He's going into a Ghost Scepter just after a lot of these early, effective value items, essentially. Just wanting to say that, okay, well, if I put myself on the front lines, the only one that can kill me is Yopaj.
Well, SMG off of that. They're not done with their own killing. They are hunting here in this top lane. Vision behind the tower. They have an idea of where Yopaj is, but no great way to kill him off. Medusa TPing in here in the trees.
Finishes the TP.
Yeah, into 5 heroes. Can they protect her here? Bane, Skem, Sing behind has the defensive nightmare. That buys Jackie some time. Does have the Stone Gaze, which he's holding on to, but he's a bit low on mana here. But the Snake coming back will heal him back up, and they get the first kill on Mid1, and Afu going down as well. Roger
They've got
dying, and SMG are just dropping like flies. Ravage captures out absolutely everyone that's left standing, and Queen of Pain being pulled back in. Mid1 can only BKB TP out. Rage and Potato on the side is just going to try to charge his way out of there, and what a hold from Boom. SMG just getting way too aggressive there, and Medusa, I think, just being like, you know, I'm a Medusa, I can TP in anything, right? This time around, Medusa with 4 points in mana shield and like 2k health. It's a different Dusa than what we saw earlier on. Oh, by the way, they're not done. Rage and Potato, Earn ticks, woo,
got him.
Barely goes down. What went so wrong there for SMG?
I think the big difference was they were playing around this ward that Skem's right next to. They had just placed it down on Boom, so they saw the fact that they were looking to make a play around that sort of area. They saw the, it's the Lost Boy ward to the right of the Dire Tier 2 tower. And, yeah, they were just had information that time around.
Well, these two teams don't want to stop fighting. A fissure from Afu looks to initiate things in, but Jackie's there to help deter any further aggression with his Stone Gaze. But now that's worn off. Roger's charged in. He may be a support, but with the Death Prophet X's him up. Feeling like he can turn and fight, but unfortunately he bites up a bit more than he can chew. The minus armor is just too much. Goes down to the Medusa, right clicks, and Afu, he's still got no Blink Dagger because of all these buybacks and constant fighting. He's had a good game in terms of some of his teamfight impact, but he's just constantly getting picked off. Now 8 deaths to Afu's Earthshaker. And Boom find themselves in a good position.
Trudge trying to stop that mid push, but it's the 20-minute catapult along with Jackie, who he's a beast.
Another one in now. Yeah. It feels like SMG are just kind of getting picked off one by one. He's got a charge. He's going to try turn and use it, but Dissimulate finishes him off.
It's getting better and better. That's the Skadi as well finished up on this Medusa. So now that you're able to be in the middle of that team fight, not only is it good against the Drow Ranger, it's good against the Queen of Pain, even the Death Prophet, prevent a lot of that kiting potential coming through as well from those ranged heroes.
Suddenly it's Boom who hold their tier 2 tower top, win a fight into a Drow Aegis, and followed up with another successful fight and multiple towers. They're on the front foot. Medusa's level 18 with Skadi. They're going to pressure a tier 2 tower bottom. They're just going from objective to objective, and it feels like SMG have nothing to show for it.
think obviously they had a very, very strong early game, but maybe diving a tier 2 tower at 19 minutes isn't the play for SMG.
Yeah.
You know, mid one was standing underneath the tower while that entire fight was going on the top side of the map. So just getting a little bit too ballsy with some of their movements coming through here, and it's going to end up costing him a tier 2.
There's like some carries that are known for diving, like, you know, your PAs and like maybe a Phantom Lancer where you've got illusions. Drow Ranger is probably at the bottom of the list of carries when you think diving towers.
That's why I was feeling so strong about this draft, is get the Nightmare. Oh,
Blink in, Ravage on 3! Yopaj falls up with some good damage to finish off Arthur, which means no Shaker once again. Mid one's just trying to BKB and run. He may take out Tim's on the retreat. Nice Stone Gaze committed from the Medusa with a grip from the high ground. There's nothing to cancel it. Roger's silence was on cooldown. And I think now he's going to find himself being chased down as well. Nightmare is maybe in range here. But good job from Roger using the trees to juke it. But they're not done with top lane Weaver. Catching up to Raging Potato. There's going to be an Astral Step slow into an Aether Remnant to pull him back in. And Yopaj is just cleaning up now. 10, 3, and 10 on his Void Spirit. Having a hell of a time.
He's doing exactly what he needs to. He's almost level with the Medusa, who's been the one that's obviously been given all of this space, right? 10, 3, and 10. It was the last hero that you had that had any kind of gap close to be able to counter this Drow Ranger, and that's why I was feeling so strong about SMG, like I was saying before. You know, they just didn't have something to nullify this Drow, but if you're going to play as aggressively as mid one, you could kind of counter yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah. Definitely not a hero known for getting in there. With the marksmanship, generally the idea is you want to stay back. At least 400 range back. And unfortunately for SMG, Boom have done a good job of just punishing the over-aggression from SMG multiple times now. Is there still hope? I mean, we mentioned the draft advantage maybe with the Drow over the Medusa. They're down gold now. Can they still kind of claw their way back into this one just because of the draft they've got? Or is it going to be kind of tough from here on out?
Well, it's a 5-level disadvantage, Parker, on mid one when you compare him to Jackie. That's pretty significant with the two.
Okay.
Maybe just the way that they're looking to take these team fights, but now it's kind of gotten to the stage where, you know, previously Jackie, he had to turn up to that mid-team fight, and it didn't work out perfectly for Boom, but he still did, and it allowed them to not necessarily break even, but get close to it. Now he actually wants to be part of a lot of these team fights, so even though you've got these heroes like mid one and Roger on his Death Prophet, you can have this Deucer that just stands in front of the towers and you can't take them anymore just because you've had this huge net worth and experience advantage.
Yeah. And they're trying to split push, but wherever they go, they're getting picked off here. And one of the big heroes that I think a big part of SMG's game plan you kind of highlighted, which, you know, every time you see the Afu Shaker, it's like 10 to 15 minutes he's in a lane farming. This game around, there was constant fighting, and he was buying back. He's only got 600 gold towards his Blink Dagger right now. He is in Poverty Central.
I was about to say, where the hell did his money go? At least he went and bought the Aghanim Shard, right? Like, that's something. He's able to contribute to team fights from afar, but it feels very rough. You know, this Medusa is just a walking fortress right now, and good luck getting past her. Everyone's having to try these cheeky little plays where he just hides himself in the trees. He's looking to farm on the enemy side of the map because he knows that's probably not where Boom's going to be. It's not really efficient either.
SMG luckily avoid getting caught in the trees there. They TP'd both out bottom lane, but Moon did have to commit his BKB. We'll see if SMG can maybe use this Shaker Shard to make some nice teamfight plays, but it does feel like they're going to need that Blink Dagger as well if they're going to want any kind of real teamfight success.
Yeah. See that Roger's hanging around the top side. A nice clever ward placed down where the tier 1 tower used to be for the Radiant. I want to see Roger finish up this Ghost Scepter. He's damn close, and he just needs a tiny bit more gold to be able to... Oh, not if Jackie finds it.
3 gold. Buy it quick. Spam it. He's got the gold. There we go. He buys it. Still perhaps doesn't feel great as Medusa gets more and more kills. Jackie's Medusa looking mighty unstoppable as mid lane. Yep. Rage Potato gets helped out by his Shaker there.
You need your level 12 on the DP as well. Like, they are lacking in damage now at this stage. I feel like early on, they had everything going in their favor, but just one small mistake fighting underneath a tier 2 tower rather than just taking a normal fight, right? Just pushing down the lane along with a siege creep, popping the Exorcism, having the Drow sit far away with an Aegis.
They've gone in and they're trying to bring down Tims and succeed in doing so. Nice start to a potential fight for SMG with the Sonic Wave cleaning up Skem's Bane. But Moon's committed a lot. Has to BKB just to blink his way out of there as well. Dusa being kited by the fissure stun and the totem, so looks like Jackie will be forced back. Boom, losing just their supports here, but maybe ready to take a fight now with Sonic Wave on cooldown.
Yeah, that's the big cooldown that you're looking to play around. Roche is up as well. You know, that Aghanim Shard going to be decently effective. I mean, Yopaj has had such a fantastic game so far. Just give it to him. Make his job even easier so that if mid one finally is able to get that that space in the middle of a team fight, you've just got that extra ringer that assimilate to be able to catch him out.
We'll see if Boom find a way to make their play on the Roshan pit when they get their whole team back up. For now, they're just kind of pushing out some of these lanes. Yopaj is going to push out bottom, but TP to rejoin his team, so got to imagine they're going to be looking to take that next fight fairly soon. They've got that Aghanims on Weaver ready, so they've got plenty of save with both the Bane and the Weaver, making it pretty hard for SMG to reliably initiate on anyone. And Yopaj is just going in.
Level 12, but, well...
Yeah. And that's, I think, like, it's nice that he hits level 12 and has this Ghost Scepter, but he's still a 5-position Death Prophet. Like, he can't just Exorcism and run in, I feel like. He's going to melt to, what, and Medusa right-clicks as well as everything else going on the Boom side.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you need to almost preemptively use the Ghost Scepter, because even if you get once and then Ghost Scepter, you're still slowed by 40% for 3 seconds, which, you know, obviously once the Ghost Scepter wears off, you're basically a sitting duck.
Well, into the Roche pit we go, say Boom. They get the classic Roche DD. So they are positioned to take this one, but SMG may have something to say about it. They're smoked up.
They see
Yopaj in a perfect spot. Yep, he scouts it out, dissimulates away as well. Now they know that Roche is safe for the taking as they'll get the Ag shot as well. He's going to give it to Yopaj.
He was ready to use it. He was ready to use it. Free it up the spot, and Yopaj is like, none of that. He's got his scepter as well.
He's like, you saw what we did the last carry. You better give me that one.
Yeah.
You won't last long around here.
Oh,
Jackie
Moon
in the middle of things. Yep, Moon gets off the BKB though. And they've managed to change on Yopaj. She actually goes down there. The Dusa, they can't really deal with the Dusa in terms of fighting her, but they're just ignoring her for the most part. Problem is the grip has come out onto the mid one Drow. Range of the charge comes, but it's too little too late to save the Drow at least. Gets the kill on the Bane, but Raging Potato could be next in the firing line as Jackie's got himself a double kill. Moon left standing, and I don't think they've got the control to finish him off, but it's a 2 for 3 in Boom's favor. Losing Yopaj, but winning the fight.
Be a little bit careful here on the top side. You're holding the gems, so might be going down to Moon, although not like they have a ton of damage to be able to punish that without the ultimate available. Yeah, I wonder what the team comms are like after that sort of thing. Is Jackie like, hey, did that Aghanim shard help you when you were getting chain stunned? Or is he just holding his tongue a little bit, considering he is the newbie?
Yeah. I like the idea from SMG where it's like, just disable this Medusa, like the fissure plus totem with the shard, like just stunning up Medusa while trying to go on other targets. Problem was, like, the Drow got caught out by a full duration Fiend script there.
It's great positioning by Skem, though. They had no vision up at the time, so to catch a Drow just sitting in this little nook in the trees, that's some really high game awareness.
On point with the Boom supports, and we'll see what comes next. Oh. Speaking of which, yeah, they've caught Moon in the river here. No Fiend script up, though. Moon gonna just BKB to be safe. Blink TP out, so making sure. Now at this point, he's already down to that 6-second BKB, so the cooldown matters. But Yopaj getting a Shaker kill. Ooh. The Shaker was 2k gold. He was so close to his blink.
Yeah, still blinkless. They're trying to make that space for him, but it's just, it feels so late at this stage of the game. 30 minutes, anyone could pick you off.
Yeah, and Roger's feeling that all too well. Anytime he leaves the base, he's getting picked. 8 deaths now to his name, but it's both SMG supports who are just really having a rough time. Mid lane Moon needs to be careful not to get gripped up, but there's the Bane. Skem finds the real one despite the illusion rune. And they bring down Moon's Quap. Things are just falling apart here. Danog, this is not looking good for SMG anymore.
Absolutely not. I mean, Moon, he's been playing a really good game up to this stage, but it gets to that point, right, where you're like, what can I do against this Medusa? The itemization feels like it's all on survivability on this Queen of Pain at this stage, and even that's not enough. Doesn't feel like they're all that worried about going onto the Quap, committing a lot of spells, particularly when the Shaker's on the sidelines.
Jackie's ready to knock at the SMG door. Does get hit by a charge and push it in the base a little bit, but with Aegis in hand for another 2 minutes, he is more than okay to just hold his ground here on the high ground. Has the Ag Scepter too, so he's able to kind of get brought down low though. They take out his first life. Yopaj jumping in to force the mid one BKB on his Drow Ranger. Medusa with the Stone Gaze can just use that to disengage if needed. And it looks like a lot of firepower is used from the SMG side, so they're being pushed back without a Queen of Pain. Nice Ravage onto 3. Catches a couple right at the edge, and Jackie's able to take advantage of that to clean up both mid one and Roger. And with 3 dead, they're going to go for the mid racks here. And potentially even a second lane if they feel like they've got the time.
Afu sold everything. He sold everything just to be able to get that Blink Dagger. He needs it.
Okay. He needs like a smoke or something. It's daytime. They're going to see him coming. There's the smoke. Who's he going on here? Jackie on the front lines is just too damn tanky.
It's got to be Yopaj.
Skem's sitting on an amp. Skem's in this here. They don't see the Bane, but the Echo Slam's going to find him nonetheless. Perfect initiation with the Sonic Wave Vault. They get Yopaj. I don't know if they realized the Bane was there. Maybe they saw him go into Shadow Amulet. The problem is still going to be this Medusa, who's just full health, full mana. They don't have an answer for Jackie. As good as that Echo Slam looked, Roger now is trapped and stoned up.
You can do everything perfect, but a Medusa, level 25, that's why I really like that push onto the high ground as well. Sure, the Aegis was starting to tick down a little bit, but the fact that you were able to prevent this Earthshaker from picking up one of these key high ground sieging team fight items, it's just such a big deal, right? Imagine if you had all of your heroes and you had that Echo Slam get off.
Yeah, basically they haven't had a Blink Shaker the entire game until it was like too late. Like you're already down racks, the game is in complete desperation when you sell out all your amps to complete it. SMG, I think, recognizing that they're going to need to go now. They use that Earthshaker Blink to kill off Yopaj's Void Spirit. They want to get some more kills. They're blinking in Moon aggressively here. The Nether Strike gets cancelled by a Mystic Snake. And Raging Potato's just being kited for days. Charge comes through onto Tim's. He gets brought down low. Still alive, and he's going to have a blink out. He may be okay here with the Nightmare coming in. Time-lapse as well, just to help make sure that he gets back to safety. But Moon may be in the high ground to finish him off here. Has the Scream and will get the kill. Skem also low, and with the Shaker's help, they'll get the Bane. I think a bit of miscommunication there. I think Tide had the blink out, but got Nightmared up. But luckily, you've still got a Jackie Medusa who's getting the bigger kills. Down goes mid one, as Jackie with the double damage is just cleaning up these fights.
Beyond godlike. He's looking to even chase up onto Afu. He's got the gem, though, so he's going to be able to see the fact that this is all coming through. They want to reclaim that, and those Scarabs. I hate this hero so much.
Make it stop. Ice Frog, please. February 23rd can't come soon enough.
It's so ridiculous.
It looked like Shaker was fine there. Like, he missed the stuns on the chasing Medusa. It's like, oh, he's in the trees. He'll blink out, and then a bug finds him. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that it goes through, like, illusions and blinks. And it's so stupid. All right. Well, we got an Aghanim Scepter on the Spirit Breaker, as we often do see. You know, even if it's played in this off-lane role, hell, even a support, it just somehow seems to be nearly the highest level in the entire game.
Skem's being found here in the mid lane, but the Nether Strike gets cancelled by a Yule Scepter. Moon getting low as well, has the BKB. Needs to make sure he doesn't get gripped up here, but it's still on cooldown for another 10 seconds, so Yopaj will finish off the Queen of Pain, and they've got nothing to stop the charge away from Raging Potato, but they're drawing lines down mid. They're doing the old NA way. Just run it down mid, but not in the bad way here. They are looking to win this game.
Shadow Amulet's in the game as well. Skem
Bane
is
does.
upgraded.
Oh, no, he doesn't. Yeah. They're ready. It's going to be SMG who's going to be looking for a place to hide, and I don't think any Shadow Amulet's going to help you here. Boom, get the tier 4 tower, and now the throne exposed. Pop does have a buyback here, which they may just have to use. There we go. They commit it with the smoke here on the front lines. Is Raging Potato, and he goes down before he can use a spell, really. Jackie's still
trying to bait him
looking...
for Afu.
Yeah. They need to deal with Jackie. He's just this unpenetrable wall in the front lines that they just can't burst through. And no one's grouping up next to him for an Echo Slam here, so Afu's just throwing out stuns. They are chipping at him. They're getting him kind of low here, but the time-lapse is there. Sonic Wave comes out, but to no avail. Roger's Exorcism is kind of just tickling at Boom, and it feels like it's too little too late. Nice-ish Echo Slam, but once again, it's tickling. Tim's the same with the Ravage, and it's game over. Game one going to go the way of Boom Esports.
Very, very nice. Well, I've got at least in my opinion, the first execution game that's coming through here for Boom. It just, it felt like again, Yopaj had a fantastic game. He finished at what? 15, 5, and 14, doing exactly what he needed to, creating a ton of space for Jackie, but the big turnaround point for mine was that push on the top lane by SMG. 19 minutes, even with Aegis, a Drow Ranger cannot be standing underneath the tier 2 tower. They could have just as easily pushed into the lane in a normal way, looked to take that away, looked to take away some of that jungle control, prevent the places for Jack to be able to farm, but didn't end up doing it, and one small mistake when you're coming up against a Medusa can cost you.
These teams are, all about watching their replays, figuring out their mistakes, and I feel like 90% of SMG's replay analysis is going to be what the hell happened top. Like, what were we thinking? What were we doing? How do we play that fight better? Or just don't take it. Like you say, that just threw everything away for Boom Esports to get back in this game. And in the end, it looks kind of one-sided. I think it's very easy to get. For like the first 20 minutes, this was a game where it felt like SMG were the ones in control.
Absolutely. Even though, surprisingly enough, the win probability was dead even. I suppose just all of that priority given over to Jackie. The big thing that really was swinging me even more in SMG's favor was that mid-team fight where Jackie turned up, had to use the Tide buyback for that. But yeah, just some good positioning coming through from Scam and Tim's in particular, being able to counter-initiate a lot of this early aggression. Ended up being able to take game 1 for Boom.
Well, Boom aren't done. They've got to win another game of this best of 3 to make a rematch with T1 in the grand finals. SMG, we'll see if they have something to say about it. They're going to be looking to force that game 3 and try to take the series. We'll be right back after a quick break for SEA DPC Regional Finals.